We are here at opening day, and a lot has happened, even though I didn't leave y'all that long ago. I left y'all at the beginning of spring training, but we got kind of eaten up by injuries. And, we have a running gag, I guess, or just running truth on my stream about tempting the OOTP gods. I mean, I talk about it on here too, but it just happens so much during my stream sims. I'd say something and then instantly get blasted by the computer that it became a huge thing in my Twitch. Maybe I tempted the gods by suggesting that we had some pitching depth. I wasn't being arrogant. These OOTP gods, they're so touchy. You say one positive thing about their team, they're like, oh, do you? Oh, you have depth, do you? Let's test it. God. So we got hit. We got hammered early and often here. Looking at the IL, Pan cooked, out for the year pretty much. 4 months left. It was 4 to 5 months when it happened. Nerve entrapment. That's not going to be good for his control, and he has a little work ethic. This could be a situation that goes south quickly. I'm a little nervous here on this one with Pan, and we're losing him again, more or less for the year. Then, literally on the same day, we are dealt 2 more blows. Kyle Bradish, bam, gone, herniated disc in his back, out 5 to 6 weeks. Now, only 2 weeks left on that. Basically just missed all of spring training, plus another couple weeks here. That one's not terrible. And then Emmanuel Clase, 5 weeks. Also basically missed all of spring with 2 more weeks left on that strained shoulder. So, I mean, those injuries do stink. It's not good for them to just miss all of spring, and it's another injury on their ledger, which can make them more prone to injury in the future, et cetera, et cetera. But in terms of our 2028 chances, neither of those are killing us. Just frustrating because I couldn't get through 3 days of simming without the pop-up saying, hey, guess what? Someone else is hurt. Because then Jaime Arias, hamstring strain, put him out for 3 months. And he still has most of that. I guess it said 3 months, like exactly on the thing. I guess only 2 weeks have passed, so they haven't taken a month off of the recovery time, which I guess makes sense. Because if you're rounding, 2.5 months would still be 3. So fair enough. And, he's not a major piece of this ball club. He spent only 49 innings with us last year and did very well, but certainly replaceable with all due respect. But then the worst one is, in terms of impact, is almost done. Impact in terms of what it did at the very moment. I did not describe that very well because the impact is not big for the year. It's 3 days left for the hamstring strain for Brian Rocchio. But at the time, looking at the team and the pieces that we need, I was like, oh, that one could really sting. When I saw the pop-up in his name, I took a breath when I saw that it was hamstring strain out 2 weeks. So that one ended up not being too bad. He'll be back. He'll barely miss a few games of the season here and be right back in there. So that's good, at least for Rocchio. But the pitching, that did take a hit without a doubt. We will have to navigate these first 2 weeks without Bradish and Clase, the entire season, or at least 4 months of the season without Pan, and 3 months of the season without Arias. Picked up Bo Brisky and David Peterson as some minor league free agents just to see what they could do. They actually both did really well in spring, but in the end I still didn't have a spot for either of them. So they'll be down in AAA kind of hanging out. Let's see. So Brisky only threw 7 2/3, but had 13% strikeout minus walk. That's fine. 117 ERA, 104 WHIP. I was not going to judge off the ratios. I mean, I'm not even going to judge that harshly off the strikeout minus walk because it's 7 2/3 for Brisky, 4 for Peterson. I just kind of wanted to get him in camp a little bit, and then hopefully they would go to AAA, which they have. Cutter Crawford was a straight minor league signing where I did it before spring and didn't even bring him up for spring. But that's some of our depth down there in the minors. It's nothing special, but guys that can fill in. We did do horribly in spring, I should add. We went 10-17, which that I'm not too concerned with. I don't get too excited if we go 20-6. I'm also not going to freak out too much when we go 10-17. I don't really think either of them is that indicative of how the season's going to go. I will say this, though. The pre-spring training predictions did not like us. Had 77 wins. Actually, I shouldn't say I have the exact count. I can find it. Let me just do the back way here. Just do that to open the folder. because I know I saved it in that folder. They had us 77 and 85. I had it right. I should have trusted myself. None of our guys made the top 10 hitters or pitchers either. I guess that's not that surprising when they didn't like our team. But yeah, we were fifth in the division and a good bit back. It's a class of 4: Baltimore, Yankees, Red Sox, Tigers, with 96 through 89 wins respectively, ranging in there. And then we dropped down to 77. So that's pre-spring training. I am curious to see if they still think we're that bad. We'll get to that in a moment. Top 100 prospects, none for us in the top 10. Let's take a look at the systems. We'll work from the bottom up because I'm not really sure where we are. Yeah, we're 24th. So not great. We do have a top 50 in Omari Senegal, our number 1 pick from last year. Ken Martell, 5th round pick from last year, is up at 52, so that's nice. That's nice little found money there to get a top 50, 55 prospect, if you will. We'll, always always go off the zeros and the fives. I could just say top 52, but for some reason that sounds weirder. And then Chris Mann, 1st round pick from 2016, hanging in there at 79th. But I mean, I don't know. With 40 power, he's just going to be capped at what he can really do for us. But we'll see. So I understand that the system's ranked low. I do think we have some talent churning though, because look at how many in the next 100 that we have. We have a young system. Our next 3 are 18, 19, and 18 respectively, and they rank 109 through 133. And then another 5 guys in that back 60, from 146 to 194 there. And the oldest, a couple of those guys are 23, so they're at AAA. Jeremy Saylor, Anthony Gutierrez, they can contribute this year. In fact, Gutierrez lost the last roster spot to Mason Hour. Similar guys, and so I basically did use the spring stats as a tiebreaker there. So we've got some talent percolating. I'm not too concerned by the 24th ranking. I think that could flip on a dime. Additionally, we did get extra money when spring training started. I did not mention that last episode, but we did get a little boost. Where would I find that? I feel like it usually has, yes, financial update. We got 12 million extra. So I poured that into the club directly here by way of boosting the development and scouting budgets. Now, yes, the scouting was 27 last year and it's 27 this year. So what did you add? I had taken 7 out though. It was down to 20. So I basically put that 7 back in. Not basically, that is exactly what I did. I don't need to couch it with that language, but I just put the 7 back in. And then as you can see, the development budget is up 2 million over last year. That had also come down a little bit because I shaved a little bit off the scouting and development budgets just to see where we were going to be in free agency. Once everything's settled, we got that extra money from the owner. I realized we can go 2 million over our development budget from last year and up at the top there with the scouting budget, 27 mil. And we still have 6 mil kicking around, which isn't, it's not a ton of maneuverability, but it gives us some flexibility that if we are trying to take on a contract, we've at least got that little bit of cushion there that we can kind of work with. So let's go ahead and meet the team. I already mentioned where the last roster spot went. There weren't too many battles. Like I said, Brisky and Peterson did not make the team just because they're not on the 40. They don't have to be when they're minor leaguers coming up for spring, and so they didn't do something that would really push, one of our guys that's out of options. Although it looks like DL Hall's our only out of option guy on the roster, so it really wasn't so much that, other than I brought them in for depth anyway. I'm not trying to necessarily get either of them on the roster. So looking at the pitching, Joey Cantillo. Actually, I'll bring up the spring stats. I'm not going to dive deep into them. I'll have them on the screen if you want to take a look at them. Because let's be honest, in the end, they don't matter that much. I like using them as a tiebreaker for like a 26th spot type of thing. But I'm not, usually what's the first thing I do when I'm looking at the whole team? I sort by strikeout minus walk. Well, I do that in spring too, and then I make some cuts. But I never considered cutting McClanahan, Cantillo, or Bobby Miller, right? So I don't put that much weight into it when it comes to spring. So Cantillo will be the one. Miller, McClanahan, Castillo, and McKenzie round out the rotation. Then as far as the bullpen goes, we do kind of need to place guys because I just put everyone middle relief during spring. And now with Clase out, we've got some openings here. We kind of have a cluster of sameness throughout the bulk of the bullpen. And then we don't really have that go-to guy with Class A down, and now Alamon also being traded. Those were kind of our go-to guys. So one of the main things I'm going to look for, of course, is dominance. Excuse me. I want somebody that can miss bats. And, Jack Neely had a really tough year last year after a strong debut season with us. We're going to give him some trust here. We're going to put him into the stopper role, and we'll just go high leverage there. We're not going to name a closer. As I like to often point out, we're going to be hell on fantasy, folks. We're not going to have any set closer. You're just going to have to get one of the 3 guys that we have and hope that our manager chooses their number on the given day. Sorry about it, fantasy dweebs. Deal with it. I do always talk about, in the fantasy context, that my fantasy brain, or my like baseball brain, totally understands why managers do that. My fantasy brain hates it. It's like, stop doing that. Just name a closer, give them all the saves, force feed them saves. But then when I'm like doing this, running a fictional team and stuff, and managing how I'd maybe want to manage if I was ever in such a role, not that I'm ever trying to be a manager, but that's what I would want to do. Or even general managing, it's like, I wouldn't necessarily want a closer. Now you got to get the buy-in. I know sometimes people will push back on this thing where you'll hear, oh, relievers want to know their roles and have it set. And you're like, oh, you come to the park and you be ready to pitch no matter what. And to a degree, I understand that. Be ready to pitch no matter what. You can't have everything laid out. At the same time, if you can meet your players where they're at and you can put them in the best position to succeed by carving out some of those roles, I think it makes sense to do so. So it doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? Not everyone has to do everything the same way on a team. So if you got a bullpen of, 7 guys like we have here, maybe 4 or 5 of them can really get bought in on the Swiss Army knife type vibe, where they're always coming in whenever you need them. Jack Neely comes in the 6th sometimes, or he closes the game. And then you got the other 2, 3, and you can kind of work with them. If it's a veteran who's crusty and, he's 8th inning guy all the time, you tell him, okay, I can't always guarantee you the 8th, but I'll give you 7th, 8th. You're going to be in that leverage spot there. Things like that. That might be the way to maneuver that, because the game's changing with the everyday closer. Like we just don't see them that much anymore. And you still see some of that pushback of, we need to have our roles announced. And it's like, well, then you might have to go find another team because, and you're eventually going to run out of teams because, like, all pro sports, it's always said about football, but it's true in baseball too. Copycat league. All these leagues are. Whatever's working, other teams are going to go, ooh, that's interesting. Let's try that. All right, so I'm just setting some of these secondary roles here with like the pinch hitters and pinch runners and all that, and then I will get into the lineup. Should have been doing a little bit more of that when I was on that reliever diatribe. Sometimes I forget to keep doing things in the background when I'm doing those diatribes there. It's like, okay, it's fine if you're gonna do that, but be doing other things. Don't keep a stationary screen. That's just a note to self there. So I don't like to put the catcher into the pinch hitting. I do like to save them. You go 14 innings, you need the catcher to come out, something like that. So that's why I don't list Bailey against lefties or Duran against righties amongst the pinch hitters. All right, so looking at our lineup, let's go positional order because I don't really worry as much about the lineup order. You can see that on the side there. But we got Bailey at catcher against righties. Like I said, Duran against lefties. Charlie Condon is going to be our first baseman. I will say the dev lab went pretty well the second time around. 6 yes, 4 no. Nam Gung was one of the no, unfortunately, because it would have been cool if he had tapped into some power. All the rest were like defense and base running. So the biggest one was Condon. What's funny though is we're not even using it because I got him better in left field and he's still the first baseman. But hey, it's nice to have. The simple fact is though, he's not better than any of our 3 guys. But it is nice to have another quality player that can go into a corner outfield spot and maybe even stretch in the center if we needed him. Like, it would be bad. 55, that would not be good for any amount of time outside of like a week or 2 for, an IL appearance. But, he's definitely a capable corner now. And I'm not really going to go over all of the others because none of them were really that special. I mean, I'll show them here. You can read the names. But, like, they were all the less than 5. It's just that some guys got it at multiple positions, so it did help, like Carrick here. because you can see now he's 60, 60, 65, 55, and he's the guy who plays everywhere. So I like that on the infield for sure. But anyway, Bailey and Duran catching, Condon at first against both sides. Jose Tena at second base here while Rocchio recovers. He also got a big jump. He's quad 60s on his defense now, which is really nice. So that pairs pretty well there to make him a nice little player. Doesn't have much pop, so looking at like a singles doubles hitter, but a nice all-around player who can do some things. Batting ninth, you don't ask too much of him, and hopefully he can deliver. J-Ram, of course, over at third, coming off one of his worst seasons, but you know, he is getting up there in age. I think there could still be a bounce back. I hope this is at least the floor. I hope at the very least he's still giving us 2.5 WAR, but we'll see how it goes. How many more years we got with J-Ram? Oh, this is the last year. So obviously I still hope he does great, but if he doesn't, it's, you know, it's not the end of the world. Jimenez playing shortstop, of course. Actually, I say of course, and maybe that's not of course. He is down to 55 range. So that's very much not of course. That's going to be Tena at short, with Mooney as the backup here. Mooney's a developed guy from our system here. 7th round, or wait, what was it, 7th? Yeah, 7th round pick out of Duke in 2023. He's just kind of matriculated along, and all of a sudden, looking like a decent player. Doesn't bring a ton with the bat, but a nice glove, captain, good speed profile. So it all adds up to, you know, quality, like 22nd player on the roster, if you're thinking about him ranked 1 to 26. So he'll be our backup up the middle there, along with Cole Carrig, who also, you know, fits in that same sort of profile. He does things a little bit differently. He gives a little bit on the defense to give a little bit of a better bat, but also brings speed. You know, one of those guys that, hey, you need somebody to do something, he's got it. He's like a switch-hitting Zach McKinstry, who's been playing really well for the Tigers lately, doing everything for them, playing all sorts of different positions. So we'll have Tena at short, Jimenez at second, and then probably Rocchio at short when he comes. Oh, no, he's down to 55 range, too. Ooh, this is ugly. I don't like that. I missed it. I missed those dips for those guys. My bad on that. We got Namgung in left, the gap god himself. How many doubles did he rip last year? 41 Dubskis. You'll love that. And then Lonnie White Jr. in center, our big centerpiece that we picked up from Pittsburgh in that big win-win deal with George Valera. Called him by the right name. Look at me. Where is old George? Solid seasons over there in Pittsburgh. Again, just a total win-win deal. Kerstad coming off a huge season for us. 4 WAR, 141 WRC plus, green everywhere, solid defender, high work ethic, big-time fan favorite. Hey, we'll take a carbon copy of 2027, but frankly, anything that's in the 25 to 27 range is definitely going to work for me. And then Kyle Stowers is back. Rough year last year, only 300 plate appearances, but it did not go well at all. But this is the kind of profile that can have those sorts of wide ranges between their top and bottom there. And really, we've seen him run the entire gamut. The peak was in 25 when he had a 136 WRC plus and 36 bombs. And then last year was the nadir, 55 WRC plus and just 13 bombs. In 300 plate appearances, you do the easy math and just double that up. That's a 26 homer pace over a full season, which isn't great, considering he had 36 in 497 plate appearances. He didn't even need 600 plate appearances to almost approach 40. But we're giving him another shot, particularly against righties, where he is markedly better, and hopefully he can click for us. Then against lefties, let's see, who gets, I think Jonathan Rodriguez and Carrig. Yes, Carrig plays second, although that's actually going to be switched to short as well because of the recent discovery of Jimenez's range. And then Jonathan Rodriguez gets in at DH because he's better against lefties. So the Stowers-Rodriguez double play platoon, I think, could work out really nicely. So there you go. There's the ball club. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm only putting Neely and DL Hall as the stoppers. Everyone else is going to stay middle relief. I threw Bybee and Heron on Hughes more often, but we'll leave it like this otherwise. Nick Enright also made the squad, control artist, who could pitch pretty well. Andrew Painter, I know, some of y'all said I absolutely stole him from Philly. I wouldn't say so far that's panning out like that. With Pond out and Painter not doing much. That said, you judge a trade both on what it looks like at the time and at the end. So I understand. It still comes down to whether or not Aldretti can really do anything. And you see why I wanted to trade him, though. 30 avoid K potential, 40 gap, 55 or 50 BABIP. I mean, it's just all or nothing power. So it's a little nerve-wracking. Misiaszek makes the squad here. Does have 45 control, which is a little dicey. Everything else sitting at 55, though. So not too bad. If he can kind of outrun the control, then we could have something here. We got a couple guys on high scouting that we're going to check back in for and just see what's what. And then we'll get the season started. See if anybody else over here needs that. Nope, everyone's on very high over there. Doesn't always change, y'all. Just anyone that's new, it's like, why do you do that? If it's on high, do I have to do a scout? No, that's just my, quirk where I need everyone at very high. Doesn't necessarily mean it does anything. All right, preseason predictions now have us even worse. What the hell, dude? Wait. They got us giving up 1,131 runs? What the fuck? This is bullshit, dude. What the hell? Why do they think our pitching is the worst thing that's ever existed in the history of the world? When I literally spent the entire offseason making our pitching better. Our rotation is disgusting. Rerun your shit. That pisses me off. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it and pretend like I'm joking. I'm smiling and laughing, but that annoys me. What the hell is that based off of? That has to be some sort of glitch. It doesn't even make any sense. It just doesn't even make any sense on any level. All right, well, I can't wait to prove those wrong. That won't even be hard. Give me a challenge to prove that wrong, because that's so off base, it's ridiculous. Flash forward to the end of the season, it's like, oh my god, we just gave up 1,200 runs. That's so stupid. All right, we're going to Tampa Bay for 2 to start. Oh, we got a bunch of 2-packs. 2 at Tampa, home for 2 against Boston, and then 3 at Charlotte. Okay. Well, let's see how it goes. Game 1. We lose 4-2. Okay. Not ideal. Quintillo, not bad. 3 earned and 6 1/3. That's nothing. There's really nothing wrong with that. But Braxton Ashcraft was simply better. 1 earned in 5 innings. Oh my goodness, we had 5 walks there. I knew that hiccup was coming. And Junior Caminero had 3 homers. Okay, so dang. So Junior Caminero beat us, but then also we beat ourselves by not getting more than 1 run when Braxton Ashcraft gave us 8 base runners. We got to knock these folks in, y'all. Come on. Let's see if we can split this little 2-pack. We do. All right, Heaney. Oh, yeah, I signed Andrew Heaney, as you can now see. I talked to him early, like when I was getting Peterson and Brisky, and I was like, yo, you want to come play? And he's like, nah, give me like $6 million and a guaranteed starting rotation spot. I laughed directly in his eyes and in his face, and I said, that is comical. Please leave. And then he came back around saying, well, how much were you offering, though? What were you going to offer? And I said, nowhere near that. He said, fine, I'll take 2.2 mil with no guaranteed spot. So there you go. I do have to send somebody out for him, though. And it might just be Misiaszek, who we just looked at. Oh, Giovanni Moran was on the waiver wire. He's probably not anymore. Oh, he is. I mean, it's compelling with the 80 stuff, right? Like, definitely compelling. But it is 40 control, and I literally just signed Heaney. And I just don't really see where both fit. And Heaney with the 45 homer could be a little dicey, but as you can see, he has 65 stuff when he moves to the bullpen. And if you compare him and Moran, 15 extra control is a huge deal. That's a huge deal. Yes, there's 15 extra stuff for Moran, but I think 15 more control is more impactful than 15 more stuff, personally. There's also a 5 home run edge for Moran, worth noting, but 5 BABIP for Heendog. So there's edges there for Andrew Heaney, and I think in the end, they are enough to get him his spot here. And it's going to have to be like Enright or Misiaszek, I think. And since Misiaszek's a lefty, and so is Heaney, I think you see where I'm going. Unless it's Tim Herron, which I just don't think it is. Sorry, Misiaszek. It's like, dang, I had 2 really strong innings. I was like, you did, and I appreciate that, but we'll catch up with you later. And we never did catch up with him again. No, I'm sure he'll be back. We'll get Heaney and Painter with the 1-2 punch. Just don't give up a bunch of homers, Heaney, please. I mean, if it happens, look, we're going into eyes wide open. We know exactly what we're signing up for and how it could go south. I'm just hoping that it doesn't go horribly south. Okay. We got bad news here with Castillo. Now, they did mix in a little bit of good news. They said, okay, he can go deeper into games, but it's because his stuff and velocity are dropping. Now, he had some wiggle room on the velocity. He's down to 96, 98. That's still very workable. But pair that with how he looked last year after the trade. Well, we got a 4.93 ERA and a 1.23 WHIP. And I have a little concern, but I stay committed to the 21% strikeout minus walk that he had with us, and I say that if he pitches like that, we'll be fine. All right, let's keep going here. I think I hinted at possibly getting through multiple months last episode. I was like, oh, we'll go to opening day and we'll get through April and maybe the opening months or something to that effect. I don't think we're gonna do that just because I think it's simming it's simming better than it did last year, as I've pointed out multiple times this year, but I still think it's a little slow to do 2 full months because I'm going to look at like a ton of the box scores. Now, we just keep losing right now, so I'm not looking at these box scores, but eventually I'm going to want to. All right, we salvaged the Charlotte series there. We dropped that first one, win the last 2, but we dropped both to Boston, so we won't check those. Let's look at this 8-4 win over Charlotte. Charlie Condon rips a couple bombs. Bailey and J-Rod go yard. Cantillo out early. Oh my God. 5 pitches in and he's cooked. Is he still hurt? Okay, he's back. It was just that day. Thank God. And then we win 7-2. Bobby Miller was excellent. Stowers rips 2 homers. 4 ribs. Had a baby. And then we face Toronto now. Do they have both Vlad and Bichette still? They got Vlad. They do not have Bichette. I forget where Bichette is. I think I knew that he wasn't here. Or maybe he's just hurt. I don't know. He's a Dodger. I think I did know that. I did, but didn't, Like, it was in my brain. It rings familiar once I see it, but I couldn't recall offhand. Anyway, let's see what they thought about the Jays. I mean, we're not going to look up everybody's preseason prediction, but okay, they think they suck as bad as we do. Same with Charlotte. So they're not impressed by us beating Charlotte. Don't forget, y'all, we're slated to give up 1,131 freaking runs. Like, literally 200 more than anybody else. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm certainly not chapped about that at all. I'm handling it in stride. Cool, calm, and collected. Very demure. Okay, first game against Toronto, that's ours. Second one's ours. Now I'm gung out 3 weeks. No, strained back muscle. He's become a fave. I went from a point where I think I was either looking to trade him or like only platooning him to now I'm like, I love this 80 gap. Anyway, he's nicked now. He only had 1 double so far through 9 games. And now he's going to be out 3 weeks with the strained back. We can survive this. It's annoying, It's just annoying. But it's part of the season, part of the game. People, I know some folks turn off injuries. Totally respect that if that's just not the part of the game that you're looking to engage with and, managing the roster and everything. I do like that part, though. And boy, do we need to fix the AAA roster. There are far too many outfielders on the team. Jesus. Okay, so we need one of them. It's probably going to be Consuegra. Actually, no, it's going to be Goody. It's going to be Gutierrez for sure. Let's get a fresh coat of scouting on him and get him called up. And we will start Gutierrez against both sides, but we will not be batting him that high. We'll bat him down here 6th against lefties. Actually, you know what? He can bat 5th against lefties. But then, 6th against righties. That's fine. Yeah, that's good. That's probably where I was going to put him. All right, Patrick Bailey's saying, hey, I'm out here on fire, 164 WRC plus. It's 7 games, let's not freak out. But I'm monitoring it, and I'm encouraged. Strained ribcage muscle has Charlie Condon nicked for 2 to 3 weeks. So what I'm going to do in that time is I'm going to get Stowers some every other day burn. And I'm even going to throw J-Ram in every once in a while over at first, and then Carrick can come in the third. Because I don't want to take Condon out, but he just does not need to be playing every day. I know he's doing well right now, but this affects his hitting and his running. Let's just give him a break, you know. Oh, and let's also hang on. Let's switch him in Stowers. Okay, let's do this. This is better, I think. We'll put him at DH, and then J-Rod can get in like every third game. Sorry to call him J-Rod, like Jonathan Rodriguez. I know that's just such a lazy thing to do. Initial Rod for every Rodriguez. I clown on it and then I fall into it myself. So, you know, self-roast on that one. Be more creative. Is there another good hitter? Like, what's Mooney? Like, Mooney and Carrick are like so slappy that I don't know that they need to mix in at DH. You know what? I can put Stowers there as well. So maybe on some of those games when J-Ram plays first, maybe Stowers will play DH. I don't know. Just something to get Condon off his feet consistently. Because right now, he just doesn't need to be playing every day. Can J-Rod play first? Stop calling him J-Rod. Not really, but you know what? It's enough. It's enough right now. Because, again, we don't want him playing too much. Condon. But again, we also don't want to take him out. So it's that balancing act there. And wait, Tana, I guess I'll put Mooney as the backup. Actually, what about Auer? He's slappy, but he has some gap. He'll be the backup DH there. And he'll play every third against lefties. All right. So that'll get a little bit of extra rest for Condon. And we'll see how that goes. I forget why I scouted Jorge Salazar. It looks like maybe he was a new international find. So good on that. All right, we lose the last one to Toronto. That's fine. We'll get a day off, and then we head to Milwaukee and Atlanta and San Francisco. Big road trip here for us. And we lose the first two 3-1. And the third 7-3. So we get swept. Clase and Bradish are back on the same day, which is excellent. And we're going to send them both on rehab because they missed spring. So this makes logical sense. I mean, I do rehabs for most, but if you're also trying to be like what would follow real life, then there's no doubt that they would get rehab assignments when they miss spring like that. Ooh, contact goes up for Gutierrez. He could really be something, y'all. This might have been a hidden gem in this deal with Bobby Miller here. But again, we gave Royce, Bo Naylor, Franco Alamon. Those are the three I really consider. And again, Jaquan Washington could become like a decent reliever, but who cares? Like that'd be nice for them, but I'm not like freaking out about that. These three need to pan out. At least two of these three need to pan out if we get Miller and Gutierrez to pop off. Carrick, I'm not having too many expectations of. I love this sort of Swiss Army piece. This is a great piece to have, but it didn't like make the trade exciting for me. Miller and Gutierrez made the trade exciting. All right, so we just got swept out of Milwaukee, so I'm not even going to look at that shiz. Rocchio's back. You see how quickly how these injuries happened so close together, by the way. So Rocchio's also going to get a rehab assignment, of course. His might be a little quicker, though, because I think we could use the bat sooner than later. At least anecdotally, yep. Just anecdotally looking at the box scores, I'm like, I think we're not hitting right now. And that's exactly the case. And what's funny, though, is like, let's say we do have a bad season. I think it'll be because we don't hit as much. And the reason I know I keep harping on this, Some of y'all are probably like, get over it. But like the 1131 runs against. What is that, dude? Shut up with that. That's the part that I don't get. Anyway, we dropped 2 of 3 in Atlanta too. We are struggling right now. We won 4-0, then we lost 5-3 and 10-8 in 10. All right, 3 at San Francisco. We win 1, lose 1. Actually, in the reverse order, we lost the first, win the second. Can we get the third? Damn, dude, 2-1 loss. All right, this is starting to get bad. We're 7-12. It's a little dicey. Maybe the computer knew. Oh, Jacob deGrom is in Portland now. Trying to put some pieces back together here at age 39. He is their number 2 starter. They're 8-12. I mean, who am I to talk shit? We have a similar record, so we'll see how it goes. All right. Oh, Gavin Williams got hurt. Torn flexor. Ouch. That's tough. Baltimore. Oh, he was pitching brilliantly again. Wow. That's tough. That's really tough for Baltimore. All right. Portland for 3. We lose the first. 5-0. We win 6-2. And we lose 6-1. When we lose, we just don't score. We just don't score. Maybe I over-indexed on the pitching. Maybe it's not even so much that I over-indexed on the pitching with the offseason. It's just that I thought our pitching was way better than it is. Oh, I forgot I signed Evan Reifert. He can stay down there in AA. That's fine. I'm not that worried about it. He has 30 control. The thing of it is, I just don't know. There's not really any offense in-house. Like, Rocchio's going to be back soon. In fact, I might just give him a day or two, and then what's the schedule look like? You know what? We'll finish out the month, and then we'll bring him to New York. Let's just do that. Gets 11 games down in AAA, or maybe 10 if they have a day off. And we get 2 to 3 week day-to-day blister for Luis Castillo. Okay. He's pitching out of his gourd right now, so that's good. But then this sucks that he's nicked, because I wonder how much that's going to impact him. Shit. Well, you know what? Let's finish the Detroit series, and then I think I'm going to put him on the IL because we're getting Clase and Bradish back. I think with both of them coming back, first off, I got to find 2 spots anyway. That can be one of them, and then the other might be Tanner Bybee with a 3% strikeout minus walk. Yep. I think that's going to be, those are going to be the 2. But again, let's finish the Detroit series. We won 1, lost 1. We got 2 more here. Game 3, we lose 4-3. Namgung's back, which is great. How long was he out? Short time, right? 2 weeks? Yeah. I'm actually just going to bring him back straight away. Lonnie White is pending upper body. Y'all, these injuries are really starting to piss me off, man. All right. Well, maybe I'll just wait for the Lonnie White injury then. I know I have to make a decision on Namgung. Let's put him on a rehab, but it might be literally 1 day. So let's see what happens here. Last game, finish off the month. This dreadful month that at best is going to be 10-16, at worst 10-17, which happened to be our spring training record too, 10-17. This is bad, y'all. Excuse me. All right, so it's Lonnie White suffering a day-to-day strained oblique. 3 weeks. These are almost worse, y'all. It's minimal impact on everything. Okay, so he's going to go on the IL too. I'm just not going to let him grind out. He's playing like shit. Now he's hurt. I just don't see this as the right move. Now, 137 BABIP will regress. Playing time, he will get back on track. But maybe not when he's hurt. So, he goes to the IL. Namgung back. Castillo to the IL. Clase back. Bybee to AAA. Bradish up. And then Jose Tena probably getting sent out here for Rocchio. All right. So, you know, big infusion of talent back onto the roster here. But I guess Rocchio has to freaking play shortstop now. Nah, it has to be Jimenez, but that is not good, y'all. Problem is, too, is like, to improve it, we probably have to trade Rocchio or Jimenez. Because they're kind of blocking off, like, Ramirez has third locked, so I can't throw one of them to third and then bring in a shortstop, you know? Condon's day-to-day injury is done. So, yeah, I'll send him back to first. Put Stowers back over here. And J-Ram doesn't have to start at first. He can still be a backup there, but we're not going to get him any games there necessarily. J-Rod. God, stop calling him that. Jonathan Rodriguez. He might need to be DFA'd. Let's see if there's anything on the wire randomly. Yeah, just some pictures. Oh, boy. I need to figure out this offense, y'all. It's really dreadful. It's really, really bad right now. Maybe we lead off J-Ram to Jimenez to Condon, Kerstead, Rocchio, Gutierrez. And then Bailey went just as cold as he was hot. Now, I read his numbers after 7 games. That is meaningless for all intents and purposes, right? So I don't want to be like, oh my God, he fell apart. You know, that's stupid. That puts too much import behind 7 games. It's like, okay, cool. He was hitting well for the first week, which is good. Like, you want that versus not. But in the end, it doesn't really mean shit. All right, I think Jimenez is going to sit against lefties right now. Because remember, when I was playing him both ways, is because I was thinking, great defense, speed, captain. Okay, we'll have him in the lineup both ways. So just bat him lower against lefties. Well, he's playing terribly against lefties, and he really doesn't bring a defensive bonus to the table anymore. So he's going to sit against them. Now he'll be Rocchio's backup, and frankly, I'll make him J-Ram's backup too. So he'll be backing up second and third, but I just don't think we need to play him against lefties right now. So then everyone but Mooney and Auer are getting starts, and that's all right. Try to start as many of the 14 as I can so that everyone has a role, but we just don't quite have a role. Like, Auer is our 4th outfielder, utility guy there. He is better against lefties, but there's no room for him to push any of these guys out, not even Namgung, the lefty. And then Mooney is literally just a utility man focused on defense. So he just doesn't have enough of a bat to really squeeze in somewhere, and I'm fine with him being Swiss Army knife utility. All right, player dev report. Jesus, Bobby Miller loses velo and movement. That's not good. He's only 29 years old, for crying out loud. We already knew about Castillo. Duran loses contact, eye, and speed. That's annoying because the bat is supposed to be what's drawing, you know, the draw here. He needs to pick it up. Gutierrez, we already knew, had that little jump. Contact and defense drop for J-Ram. It's probably going to be happening a bit here. Power goes up for Condon. We like that. We need it ASAP, dude. Can you start hitting like 4 homers a game? Dusty Martin has a nice jump. I see some negatives here, but no big names as far as prospects, so I'm not that concerned. But a Johnny Hardware gets cooked. 8th round pick, though, right? Like him smoothing out, not being as good as maybe we originally thought. That's not terribly surprising. All right, let's go ahead and cut it here. First month went poorly. Oh, wait, did we win that last game? We lost, so we went 9-17. I guess I could have just looked up here. Horrible, right? There's really no 2 ways around it. And it is exclusively the offense. Like, I have nowhere else to blame. It is the offense. So the question is, do we have the horses in-house to get it done, or do we have to look elsewhere? First things first, I'm going to take Bailey out as a starter. We're going to start Duran both ways because he has a better bat. Rocchio's back. That should be something. You know, the thing of it is, like, he just doesn't bring power. So his return isn't like, oh, look at this thump coming in. It's like, okay, you know, it's a solid player. I'm happy to have him back. But I don't think he changes the dynamic of our lineup or anything. And that might just be the problem up and down. When you look at these power metrics here, we got 2 guys 60 and above, a couple 55s, 3 50s, and then a boatload of yellows. Now, amongst the yellows, only 3 are starters. And all 3, at least right now, with Lonnie White Jr. out, are up the middle. Rocchio, Jimenez, and Namgung. So that is where you would give up bat, but it's too much right now. Here's the thing. I'm not going to make any drastic moves right now. What I'm going to do when I put up this recording, you know, or when I stop recording, I'm going to play out May and kind of see where that goes. If the offense starts to regress, where a guy's at, you know, let's sort by BABIP real quick. Anybody like just painfully unlucky right now? Like Duran has a 172. That's pretty bad. J-Ram 246. Gutierrez 256. Namgung, Kerstead, and Condon are 269 and below. Now, those aren't crazy at 267, 269, but lower than normal. And then Jimenez is the only one that's running crazy hot at 433. Carrying at 373 is pretty high. Not like obscene, holy crap, but it's still pretty high. But at least we don't have some guys that are running crazy hot BABIPs and then the hits just aren't translating into anything. So we should get better with some regression. I don't know that regression alone is going to fix the offense, though. So I'll be monitoring things pretty closely here in May and see if there's a move or two to be made. I think what it would probably entail, though, is looking for more offense up the middle somewhere. And it would probably mean trading Rocchio. Because I don't know if anyone's going to be as interested in the money that Jimenez makes. So I don't know. I'm a little torn on that. I love Roque. We created a spot for him by trading Royce Lewis. So that just might not be the answer. Maybe we find it elsewhere. Actually, as I'm thinking about it too, maybe that's not it. Maybe a better outfielder. Although we're going to get Lonnie White Jr. back too. He's not even fully out. Like he is because I put him on the IL, but I did that as a precautionary measure. And he'll be better. He has a 137 BABIP. That's hilarious. So I think we'll be okay. I think we'll claw back into this. We need, like, we don't have to reverse May or reverse April in May. We don't have to go 17-9. But I'd like to see like 3-4 games over 500 to kind of reestablish some things and then push forward. But we'll see how that goes in episode 32. We'll probably pick up sometime in late May, early June, depending on how things go. But until then, talk to y'all later. Peace.